What's going on? Zach Crawford here, and in this video we're going to talk about shiny object syndrome and how to overcome it. So here's the thing, almost every single entrepreneur goes through this. I call it entrepreneur ADD, but you struggle with the ability to focus. And I'm talking about focusing on what you want in life, focusing on one business model, focusing on getting exactly what you want. And it's really paralyzing your success. And I can tell you that I struggled with this immensely. I've been in business for over 7 years. I've done multiple different business models. And it wasn't until I understood what I'm about to explain to you in this video that I actually started getting traction. And even to this day, I constantly have to shut out distractions. And if I don't remind myself of this every single day, it's very easy to go, off into another direction. So we're going to talk about a few things here. One, why you can't focus. Number two, what's keeping you stuck and really paralyzing your ability to grow and get to where you want to go. We're also going to talk about how to define exactly what you want, because if you don't know what you want in clear terms, you're never going to get it. And then the final thing is actually how to go from defining what you want to actually getting it. So what we're going to do really quick is we're going to draw on the whiteboard, and I'm kind of going to go back and forth and explain to you some examples of things that I made the mistake doing, and then also stuff that I see a lot of people doing and how to fix that. So number one is we're going to talk about why you can't focus. Your ability to not focus, entrepreneur ADD, is going to paralyze your ability to ever get to where you want to go. And so here's the reason people stay stuck. So your name is Bob, right? In this video, you are Bob. And I don't care if you're a girl, you're Bob, don't argue with me. So here's the thing. There's Amazon FBA, right? There's Shopify, there's affiliate marketing, there's product creation, there's penny stocks, there's Bitcoin and real estate and social media marketing agency. And there's probably like 50 other different business models that you can do. And this is one of the reasons that you're probably a bit confused right now and you have some anxiety in your head of which one you should do, which one you should focus on, and which one's the best. The next thing is consuming, right? This is where a lot of people really go wrong, right? Here's what most people do. They consume 99%. Maybe just take 1% action. This is really screwing you up. So, this is what I call over marketing, right? You know every single guru. You know what podcasts are hot, and you listen to all of them. You've bought several different courses and many different business models that are nothing the same. You literally are reading like 5 books right now that you're dabbling in little different ones. You're not even finishing one book, and you got like 10 more on the way on your wish list on Amazon, and you just keep piling books up in your office. I'm even guilty of this a little bit myself from time to time. You are watching everybody's Instagram channel, so you know who has the awesome life. You know what person's doing what and what's going on over here. You're following everybody on your Facebook newsfeed, whether that's Facebook ads, organic. You're following everybody that's a who's who, right? You're watching every single guru on YouTube. You know this person and that person. You know what business model they're in, how much money they make. You're in Facebook groups, probably like 50 of them. So you see all kinds of stuff every single day. On top of it, you're watching Snapchat. I don't even know anything about Snapchat, but let's just say you're doing Snapchat. Now, the next thing, this is why a lot of people can never even decide what they should be focusing on to grow the business, right? There's 1,000,001 tactics, and this is where most people make the mistake that they think tactics are a business model. They think tactics are the business, and it's just a skill. It's something that helps you get to where you need to go. So things like Facebook groups, right? There's people out there telling you if you don't have a Facebook group, your business will not survive in this era. If you're not doing live streams every single day, I'm kind of guilty of this. I do a lot of live streams myself. You're not going to succeed. If you're not doing Facebook ads, you are missing out, because right now it's cheaper than it's ever going to be. And if you don't do Facebook ads, you won't succeed. If you're not doing YouTube ads, because YouTube ads is the thing that nobody's doing right now, you need to be on it. Once again, I'm guilty there too. Instagram, you have to be doing Instagram, right? You're looking on Instagram, you see people doing all this cool stuff, and so you think because of that fact that that person has a Lamborghini and they do Instagram, I should be doing Instagram. Then you're doing messenger bots, right? You see that messenger bots are the latest thing. You think everything's about messenger bots, so you're going to go dabble and do a little bit about messenger bots. Then you go and you see webinars, right? And you see this person says, hey, I'm on a live webinar. I'm doing 5 webinars a day, which it's BS, right? But they tell you got to have a webinar if you want to succeed. And then funnels. If you do not have a funnel, you will not succeed. And some of these things are things that I actually use in my own business. But the point I'm trying to make here is that a lot of people are using fear on you. They're using fear marketing. And this is why a lot of people can't focus, is because people are saying, if you don't do this, you won't survive. If you don't do this, you won't survive. If you're not doing this business model, kiss everything else goodbye. The point being is everybody is biased. And then one thing you got to understand is that if you don't even know what you want, which we're going to talk about defining what you want later, you're never going to get success. You're going to consistently be going down this path. And what's going to happen is you're just going to keep circling around. You're going to be bouncing around over here, and then over here, and then over here, and then over here, jumping around like completely crazy like. And you're never going to have clarity. You're going to have so much anxiety in your head. You're going to be so frustrated. You're going to be compare-itis, looking at everybody else that's successful. And you're going to stay in this shiny object syndrome for pretty much the rest of your career and never get success if you keep doing this. And I can tell you I was guilty. I did it myself. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about what's really keeping you stuck and why you're not actually getting results. It's not the business model. It's not the tactic that you're doing. It's not what, the lack of having a good mentor or having the right information or some secret you're missing. It's something much deeper than that. All right, Bob, so welcome back. So once again, you are Bob, and here's the thing. This is why you're failing, right? It's not because you're staying stuck because you don't have the right information, as I clarified before. It's not because of the course. I mean, there are some crappy courses out there, let's be honest, but it's not necessarily because of the course. It's not the mentor lied to you. It's not you haven't discovered some secret or some magic tactic that hasn't been discovered yet. Here's the real problem, right? Let's just say, I'm going to give an example of Shopify because I've done Shopify before. I'm not really a fan, to be quite honest, but I've done it. And here's the thing, right? And I don't want to use affiliate marketing just because affiliate marketing is the business model I teach. So I'm trying to be as non-biased as possible, even though I kind of just threw that out the window and said I don't really like Shopify. Just bear with me, right? So here's what happens. You see somebody doing Shopify and they're talking about how they make $500,000 a month. Now, they're failing to tell you for the most part that there's a lot of expenses. They don't make that much profit because of the fact after they drop ship, they got to pay employees, they got to pay for all their plugins. You're just seeing the $500,000 a month and you're like, man, this is freaking awesome. I'm going to do Shopify. I'm going to be a baller too. I'm going to have this lifestyle. This is what pretty much everybody goes through. This is what I went through. So here's what happens. You get involved in Shopify and you fail to see the fact that you're going to have to learn several skills to make it work. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news to you right now, but if you think you're going to get involved in a business model and make like $50,000 a month in the first 30 days, it's just not going to happen. It's not. When you see somebody talk about and I use crazy amounts of money in my videos too that I've made, but what you fail to see is all the struggles and all the skill sets and all the obstacles that we had to overcome in order to make that type of money. You don't just wake up, pop out of the womb, and you're gifted and you're just a badass at Shopify. It's going to happen because you're consistent, right? It's going to happen because of the fact that you learn the skills, you stay with it, and you focus on mastery and not dabbling. This is a concept from Tony Robbins, the dabbler, which they dabble around. So if we talked about up here, this is the dabbler. They do a little of this, 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 but they never focus on mastery, right? So to go back to you, Bob, here, and you're in Shopify, right? But here's why you fail and you keep repeating the cycle. You're in right now what I call your hell. And over here is heaven. And I want to clarify, not everybody is in a true hell like when I started out. If you're not new to my channel, you've seen my documentary, you see the real hell and heaven, right? I started out, I was suicidal. It's not a story I can make up. I wish I did. I was massively in debt from getting hit by a drunk driver. So I was in what I call real hell. But the hell for you could be like, you could have a good job. It's just you're not very happy with what you're currently doing. You want a better life. You want a better life for your kids. You want to be able to travel the world. You want the Lamborghini. Everybody's desires are going to be different. Depending on what age you are, what background you're coming from, what country you're in, everybody has different desires, and that's completely okay. If you want the Lamborghini, I'm not putting you down. I actually plan to buy a Lamborghini in the future too. It's just I am very, very smart with my money. So I don't go buying things when I can invest that money. So the point being here is it doesn't matter what you want. Everybody has different desires, right? But the reason you start into a business, let's get honest, it's not because you're happy. It's not because you enjoy working for the boss. It's not because you enjoy like, hey, you can take, Saturday off, Bob. I'll let you have this Saturday off. It's not because of the fact that you enjoy taking orders. It's because you want a better life for yourself and you see what's possible online. So therefore you start a business, right? And so here's what people fail to do though, right? They're focusing right here, which is the money. And what I can tell you personally is when you focus only on making money, you almost never make money. If you want to make money, here's how you make money. You focus on solving big problems in a specific industry. And so here's what happens. You're to get to your heaven, right? You're gonna have a lot of little things that you got to do in order to get there. However, most people market it like you just straight go to heaven, and it just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry to tell you. So here's what happens, right? Let's say in Shopify, the general process of Shopify is, let's say, number one, you just decide you want to do Shopify. You found somebody, You trust them, you got on a webinar, and you're like, hey, this is a really awesome business model. I want to pursue it. Now, that's going to be number one. And now probably number two would be like you go through the course. You start going through the course, and here's where the resistance is going to kick in. Here's where you're going to start to realize, oh man, shiny object syndrome is coming all over again. I probably should have went with affiliate marketing, or I probably should have went with creating my own products, or I probably should have went with penny stocks. I knew it. But you're like, no, I'm going to fight this. I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to stay with it. So you go through the course, and then you start to realize you're going to have to do a little bit of stuff. You're going to have to learn some skills, right? So step number 3 is probably like, okay, you need to pick a niche. So you're going to need to pick a profitable niche that you can go into and create products around. Let's just say it's bulldogs, because I'm a bulldog lover, and that's what we're going with. So you decide you're going to create, a bulldog niche, and you're going to find drop shipping keychains. You're going to find t-shirts that you can print bulldogs on. You're going to find stuffed animals that you can ship out to little Sally. And basically that's your niche, right? So the next step would probably be number 4, you need to set up a Shopify store. Or actually, I messed this up. You need to find products to drop ship. So this is where you're going to start to have a little bit more resistance kick in. You're like, you know what? Man, now I got to find good vendors. Now I realize, like, man, a lot of these vendors don't have good ratings. Some of them can't speak very good English, so it's going to be hard to communicate with them. I got to also make sure ahead of time that if I actually get a really good ad and this thing blows up, that they can actually, fulfill the order, so I don't have a bunch of upset customers. And you're like, oh man, this is way more than I thought it was going to be. They didn't tell me all this. So then you find your products, right? You've made it through this stage. At this point, congratulations. You've already went farther than probably 90% of people are going to go. But if you decide to stick with it, the next thing is probably like, okay, I got my products. Now I got to go to step 5, which is to build my Shopify store. And what happens is resistance kicks in once again, and you're like, oh God, I suck at tech. I'm not good at this stuff. I didn't go for a college degree on how to build websites and do all these things. And so you have to start to learn to set up your Shopify store, install the plugins, make everything look pretty, upload your images, all this before you can even run a single ad and make money. And this is why most people have quit already, right? Now let's say you're one of the go-getters. You're like, Zach, I am not a flake. I'm not a person who just buys stuff and doesn't do it. I'm an action taker. And let's say that's true. So you get to the point now and you're like, number 6 is, you start studying Facebook ads, and then you're like, okay, I can do this. And number 7 is you launch a Facebook ad. So I'm just going to put launch, right? You launch a Facebook ad, and here's where the giant wall happens. And everybody is going to hit a wall at a different stage. I want you to realize, I don't care, even at my level and you're making a bunch of money, you're going to still hit walls even when you're a 7-figure earner. It doesn't stop. There's going to be a wall, and you have 2 choices. You can either straight Bruce Lee it and just punch 10,000 times till you break that wall, or you can do what most people do, and they go up here and they practice like 10,000 different punches. They're just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. One of these things are gonna be a winner. I don't know which one, but one of these are gonna be easy, and it's gonna get me the result. And this is where most people fail, right? Instead of deciding to go Bruce Lee on it and practice that kick 10,000 times to get good at it and master instead of dabble, they go back to their old bad habits. They go dabble. They say, you know what? I knew this. I knew Shopify wasn't for me. I knew that, it's saturated. I've seen people on YouTube talk about it saturated. I knew this guru was a liar and they're holding something back. This is where all these silly thoughts start to go in your head. Your old broke programming as an employee. And so what happens is you quit. You throw in the quit towel. And at this point, this is why you stay stuck. Because now you're like, you know what? I see this person over here on Instagram, and they're driving a Lambo. My car skill drawing is horrible, but that's a light. Just ignore that. That's a Lambo, okay? So they have a Lambo, and you're like, you know what? This person is doing penny stocks. Man, this is definitely where it's at. Like they say I only need to invest like $100 a day, and I can flip and make that to $1,000 a day. I'm going to do penny stocks. I'm going to get me a Lambo too. And you start doing penny stocks, and what happens is you're like, man, these charts are crazy. I can't read this very well. I'm horrible at predictions. I'm not making any money. I just lost another $500. And then you look over here, and this person's like, you know what? I told you you should be doing product creation. It's so easy to create your own products. And right now I'm making $200,000 a month passively selling my own products. And you're like, oh, this is it. I'm going to make a product around intermittent fasting because I'm trying to lose weight anyways. I'll make my own product. I'll make tons of money. And I think you get my point. This is the process that 99% of people go through, and they stay on this merry-go-round, right? They just keep doing it. They keep doing it. And what happens is the longer that you do this process, you're telling yourself that you don't trust yourself. You're telling yourself that you're not good enough. you're telling yourself that you're not really committed to mastery. And anytime you try to commit to anything, you don't even believe that you can do it because you've proved yourself time and time again that you don't stay the course. So here's the problem. This is why you're staying stuck, is because you're trying to take on far too many commitments. You know, one of the books I'm always recommending on my channel and all my content is a book called Straight Line Leadership. And it talks about in one of the lessons how the fact that we cannot have tons of commitments at once. At any given point, we can only have 2 to 3 commitments maximum, and really one of them should be your main focus. So let's just say, for example, you are committed to, learning Shopify, right? But you also are committed to being more present in your family's life. Let's just say you have some kids. And at the same time, you want to lose weight. After that, pretty much everything else you don't have time for. But what most people are doing is they're up here. They're committing to everything, right? So even when they were learning Shopify, instead of just focusing on the basics and learning like the basics of what they need to do to get Shopify going, they were probably also dabbling in, and I know this is a mess, but they were probably dabbling, okay, I'm going to set up a messenger bot also to sell my Shopify products. And at the same time, they probably were like, I'm going to also build me a funnel. I'm going to build me a funnel to sell my Shopify products as well. They never really focused on getting good at what they were doing. They were dabbling. And this is what happens when you do this, is you quit again and again and again, and you constantly be going back and forth and circling around over and over again to the point that you never get what you want. So what we're going to do in the next step is we're actually going to define, or I'm going to talk to you about how to define what you really want out of your life and your business, so you pick the right business model for you, and then you reverse engineer the process backwards to figure out how to get that. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to define what kind of life and business that you want, and we also need to define what kind of entrepreneur you are. But I'm going to start with what kind of entrepreneur you are, because here's what most people do. They go out there and they see somebody talking about the insane amounts of money they're making. Let's just say they make $200,000 a month, and they sell their own products, right? And most people are making their business decisions based on emotion. So they see this person has a Lambo, and they live in a mansion, and they travel all the time, and it just looks like they're having the time of their life. But what they fail to see is if this person is actually as wealthy as they perceive to be, and what I can tell you is after creating a 7-figure business, a lot of the people that are perceiving they're a baller are not really baller. I want you to think about things like, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, or Steve Jobs, or Richard Branson, people that are outside of this internet marketing community that we're in. They don't go about bragging about popping bottles. They don't brag about where they're traveling and all the things they're doing. They focus on building the business. It only happens in this world. So a lot of the times, the people that are making it look like their life is amazing, they look like everything is going awesome in their life, a lot of times they're massively in debt in order to show off on social media. So don't always base your decisions based on what somebody owns. But this is what a lot of people are doing. They're basing their business decisions on which business they do based on how much money somebody makes and how cool their life looks, which is very, very stupid. So here's what I want you to realize. What kind of entrepreneur are you? So what kind? I know I just totally messed that one up there. But what kind of entrepreneur are you? Are you what I call the 7-day grinder? Or are you the lifestyle entrepreneur? And what I mean by this is the 7-day grinder is like the Gary Vaynerchuk model, right? Where you basically work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week for like 10 plus years in order to build your empire. And if you are that kind of person, it's completely okay. To be honest, I'm kind of more the person that is closer to the 7-day grinder. I love business. I love constantly making money, investing, and I want to keep getting to that next level. That's my personality. But some people are more the lifestyle person, right? They want to be able to travel the world. They want to be able to have more time with their family. They want more time with their kids. They want to be able to have freedom more than actually building a business. And I don't mean building a business, but I mean living pretty much for building a business. So you got to define which type of entrepreneur you are, because if you don't like the idea of working 7 days a week, 15 hours a day, and constantly just pushing forward and breaking that next level just in order to see what's possible, you might be going into a business that doesn't even make logical sense for you. If you're more the lifestyle person, realize you can make $20,000 to $50,000 a month as a lifestyle entrepreneur. Like, you don't have to grind 24/7. Will you have to make sacrifices in the beginning? Absolutely. Will you have to work hard? Absolutely. Will you have to overcome obstacles? Yes, absolutely. But you won't have to work yourself into the ground in order to do so. If you want to go to the high levels, understand there's going to be lots of sacrifices. Now, the next thing you need to understand is your personality type. And so here is something that I see people do, and they go into a business that just doesn't align with their personality. Are you a people person? So do you like people, right? So let me give you an example of this. I see people going in, for instance, like say an agency or consulting, but they don't like dealing with people. And they get very, very agitated very easy. They don't like when people say things they think are stupid. They don't like when people complain. They're not very patient with people. If you're somebody who is not very patient and you're not very understanding and you're not very good with communicating with people, then working directly with people probably isn't a good business model regardless of how much you can make. All right, so let me give you another example here, and it could be you want to create your own products, right? So we're going to write down you want to create your own products. And let's just say, for instance, you're somebody who is not good with tech. You have no really good marketing ability, and you don't really like having to spend insane amounts of hours to learn all that stuff. And so what I'm getting at here is that if you're the kind of person who wants more of the lifestyle business, right, creating your own products probably is not good for you. And the reason I say that is because there's 10 times more work over recommending somebody else's products with something like affiliate marketing or doing drop shipping like Shopify. So if you're the person who doesn't enjoy more, of the grinding, you don't want to learn all the tech skills, you don't want to learn all the marketing and copywriting, you don't want to learn about funnels, you don't want to learn about persuasion, you don't really like the idea of being on the camera, right? You're more of a introvert and you're not okay with being on the camera like I am, then creating your own products is probably not for you. So what I'm saying here is whatever business that you're going to go into, these are things you need to think about. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And what kind of person are you? Because if you're going into a business model that just is nothing like the person that you are, you're going to have a hard time making it successful no matter how hard you try. So you got to find something that aligns with your goals and then, of course, your personality. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about is the life that you want, right? Defining what you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down for you an example. We're just going to use extreme amounts of money to show you that you can have a pretty epic life as long as you make at least $20,000 a month. And I understand if you haven't made $20,000 a month, that might seem like a far stretch. But what I can tell you is it's a drop in the bucket. I remember when I first wanted to make just $3,000 a month to have freedom. And literally I went from when I got to the point of around $3,000 a month, literally in 30 days, I bumped up to $40,000 a month and never looked back. And it was all because I shifted to how I thought and it wasn't doing way more work. It was just actually working smart. So here's the thing. You want a baller house. Let's just say $4,000 a month. I think that should pretty much do it for most people. Let's say you want a pretty nice car. I'm not going to define what car, but the payment is $1,500 a month. Let's say you want to travel. And obviously, you're not going to travel 24/7. Obviously, if you do want to travel 24/7, change the figures around. We're just doing an exercise here. So we're going to save $2,000 a month. So that way, when we want to travel later in the year, say we want to take a couple months off, we have baller money sitting around. We can literally do all the fun stuff. We can go to whatever countries we want. We don't care about the flight cost. We have money to do that. Let's say that you also need to budget for bills, right? I'm going to make the bills $3,000 a month. And keep in mind, you shift these figures around based on the life that you want. Fun money. I'm just going to give you $2,000 a month for whatever. That's you want to go buy yourself a new computer. You want to go out and have a $200 meal. You want to do fun stuff, whatever you want to do. So these are some basic bills here. Obviously, you can play around with the figures. I'm just going to add this up what we got here. So we got 4,000. We got 4,000. We got 1,500. We have 2,500. We have, let's see, I messed that one up. It was actually supposed to be 2. We're just going to run with it. We have 3,000 and we have 2,000, right? So we basically have a $13,000 a month bills. And honestly, I don't know too many people that have this much in bills. My bills aren't even this much, and that's even with business expenses. I could have thrown business. Let's actually just throw business on there, and let's throw 5,000 a month. So now you're up to 18K. So if you make 20K a month, you literally can live like a baller. You can live like a baller. Now, you're going to have a ton of money in savings every single month? No, you're not. But the point being is a lot of people are wanting to go out there and start from day one, and they want to make $200,000 a month, $1 million a month. They see all these people that they're comparing themselves to, and what they don't realize is they're looking at the person who is literally on level 100 by focusing on getting better. And they're at level 1. They're just getting started, and they're looking at somebody and they're they make $1 million a month. I want to make $1 million a month. I remember at the times when I was sharing at that level, I was doing $50,000 a month. And that's why I don't really share figures of how much I make now, because it really attracts people that just want to get rich quick and do no work. And I remember sharing about how much I was making, showing income screenshots, which I find kind of douchey, to be quite honest. And people would be like, Zach, I'm going to make $50,000 a month in the next 30 days. And I'm like, good luck. And so what they were doing is they were taking my journey that was like 3 years in, and they were comparing their journey, which was just getting started, never did anything. And they thought that they were just going to skip that learning curve and skip the process of getting better and go straight to $50,000 a month. And so my point here is you need to define what you want. And then once you actually know what you want, we can go to the next step, which is actually how to realistically get it. All right, so now that you've actually defined your personality type, you defined what kind of business model, at least you have a good idea of what you want to pursue, and you know how much money it's going to take to really build your dream lifestyle. Now is where you need to pick one path and focus on mastery. That's it. One path, one business, not 50, not 50 tactics, not following 50 gurus. You just need to pick one business model, and that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few tips here that you want to apply if you want to actually get what you actually define that you want. So number one is commitment. And what I mean by this is when you commit to something, you need to follow through. Every single business that you go into is going to have its own set of problems, its own set of obstacles, its own set of challenges you have to overcome, and you're probably going to want to quit about 150 times per day. And I know that might sound a little bit depressing, but if you really think about it, once you realize this, that there is no secret business, there is no secret method, there is no secret to success, it all comes down to just commitment. And what I want you to understand is, let's just pretend that you're doing a weight loss diet. Every time you try to attempt to lose weight, and then you don't follow through on your commitment, you're telling yourself, I'm a quitter. You're telling yourself, I'm not good enough. You're telling yourself that, I can't believe in myself to follow through on my word. So just like with business and just like with the diet, when you start something, you need to commit to yourself. More importantly than committing to the business, you need to commit to yourself so you can trust yourself. Because every time that you don't follow through on your word, you're literally paralyzing yourself in your mind that you can't believe in yourself and you will not follow through to get the result. And that's why when you actually pick a path, you need to stop dabbling, like we talked about before, and focus on mastery. That means working through the challenges, working on getting better every day, tweaking the process and constantly getting better, and focusing on becoming the best person you can at what you're doing. Focus on getting better than all your competition. That is the secret to making lots of money in whatever business model you're doing. Now, the next tip is to become a yes man or a no man or a no woman. Don't say yes all the time. I got that one wrong. So what I mean here is basically you got to learn to say no like 95% of the time. Hey Bob, can you go get coffee? Nope. Hey Bob, can you check out this business model I got going on? Nope. Hey Bob, what about that? Nope. Before they even finish their sentence. And what I mean here, I'm not telling you to go out there and be an asshole. I'm not telling you to go out there and be mean to people. What I'm saying is that you're going to see every high performer that's good in any business is they respect their time and they respect their commitments. So there's a book that I'm always recommending on my channel all the time called Straight Line Leadership. I talk about it like it's changed my life tremendously. And in the book, it talks about how we can only have 2 to 3 commitments at any given time in our life that you can focus on. A lot of people are trying to commit to everything. They're trying to say yes to everything. They're a yes woman or a yes man. So what you got to do is figure out what are your main commitments. So I'm going to give you an example. Mine is scaling my business to the level I want this year. Secondly, it's my family. It's being more present because I know that I need to do a better job at that. And then number 3 is getting in the best shape I've ever got in. I've done where I've gotten great shape, been super lean, and then I focus more on business and then started eating crappy and putting on weight. And you can't perform at a high level that way. It's just not possible. So I know that if anything doesn't fit in those 3 things, I have to say no to it. It doesn't matter how good the business opportunity is. It doesn't even matter, like last year, for example, when everybody was doing Bitcoin, I wasn't interested. When people were telling me, hey, Zach, you can come over here and kill it in this business model, I wasn't interested. And so this year, I'm even more strict on when things don't align with what I'm doing, I'm just not interested. So I don't go out there and buy products on things that are not going to help me with my business. I don't follow people that are in business models that are just, successful in that business model because I want to listen to a podcast to get motivated. I don't care. I don't go to events that are not related to what I'm doing. I don't take in information and consume things that are not related to what I'm doing. I'm saying no to almost every single thing that doesn't fit in my little 5% that I'm focused on. And that's what most people don't do. They say yes to everything. They say yes to their friends always wanting to take their time. They say yes to take a look at any new business that looks good. They say yes to consuming every single person's content, and that's why they never get ahead. Now, the final thing I want to say to you is you need to get clear. So even though we went through this exercise, if you've made it with me this far, for one, I'd appreciate if you'd comment below and let me know what you thought about this. Let me know what you're going to commit to and what you're actually going to stick to. Let me know that this year you're going to follow through and do what you promise yourself, and you're going to follow through on your commitments, because I'm interested to hear it. Now, the thing I want you to do here, and this final tip, is I want you to, after you get done watching this video, I want you to get out a pad of paper and a pen and go through the exercise. Actually map out what kind of person you are, what kind of income you want to make, and what business model resonates with that. And then from there, focus on only that. Focus on only that and commit to yourself. Like, that means even if you're following me and what I'm teaching, which is affiliate marketing, is not of interest to you, then that's completely fine. Focus on what you are interested in, focus on your lane, and focus on what's important to you. Because if you're constantly focused on what everybody else wants from you, you're constantly focused on, going to this business and that business because this person says it's hot, you're never going to get to where you want to be. So if you are actually interested in affiliate marketing, you want to learn how to shut out all the distractions, you want to learn how to create a strategic plan and actually become successful with affiliate marketing, I do have a training in the description. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.